Right, hello everybody, I'm the 569er, I'm back for another VOD review. Today we're going to be having a look at G2 versus Splyce in the regular season. We're going to be throwing it back a bit to 9.13. Now the reason why I'm doing this is, one, to challenge myself a bit, and two, this is one of the only games where G2 has been able to get Yasuo and Qiyana. Now, if you've watched any games recently and looked at any of the bans, you will see that Yasuo and Qiyana are always banned away from G2, and this game gives us a perfect explanation as to why. Now we're just going to start off with the draft here. It's a fairly normal draft. We're back on 9.13, so you've got to keep in mind this is on a patch where Mordekaiser is God. Mordekaiser is ridiculous. You have to ban that chap. This is also back when Yuumi is super weak. So we're just going to have a look at these first few picks here. Well, bans here, sorry. So obviously the Azir in Humanoid's hands, it is a very strong pick of his. Strong in lane, good poke, strong wave clear, and it allows him to make plays during the mid, late, and even early game. And we have a pause. So I'm just going to skip through this. I forgot this happened. Right, and we're back. Okay, so we've got the Azir ban, which obviously I've just been over. Very strong for humanoid, good poke in lane, strong wave clear, strong team fight, and playmaking potential. Does everything you need it to do. Also is very safe in lane with the Shrink and Shuffle. Again, the Karma, extremely strong in this patch. This is when she was just buffed. Very strong, top, mid, or support. There is even some ways that you can play it bot lane, as shown by Fnatic. This is a strong pick. Again, you don't want to let it get through on Humanoid, or Noskaran for that matter, or Visage Charge. Right, you cannot let this pick get through. The slows, the heals with the W, the chase potential that it gives to anybody on the team or the whole team all at once, the damage that it can output, it does everything you need it to do. Now we're going to look at Splyce's bans. Obviously this is when Mordekaiser was just reworked and he did like 2 billion damage. His passive is super OP, he does lots of damage just in general, can yoink people into the Shadow Realm. Very strong pick again. Now, the Olaf pick, again, is very good. Very good for caps. It's a nice early pick that can make plays, does well into the mid, and can allow him to really start snowballing and scaling up. Banning it, obviously, stops him from doing that. So, next up we have the Aatrox pick. So I can't exactly remember when Aatrox got changed, but this is around about the time when he didn't get revive just for R-ing, I believe. That might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's true. Even still, he does have very strong healing. He is still a extremely strong champ, and not something that you want to give to a player like Vizicsarchi. And the last ban for G2 is the Pyke. The last ban for Splyce, sorry, is the Pyke. So, banning away the Splyce, taking that away from Mickey. Pyke is very good with... Mickey is very good with this Pyke, sorry. Able to make strong plays, get his laners kills, use his ult effectively and efficiently. Now, we can see quite a few things left up here, notably the Qiyana and the Yasuo. This is where most of this first round draft centralizes, around the Qiyana, around the Yasuo. So they are obviously going to pick this up. I'm not sure if Splyce knew that they were going to do this, if they had something prepared, but they don't pick anything up. I think they did try to draft against it, but it doesn't work for them. So this is again also back before Lux was nerfed quite a bit, and this is when she is in one of her strongest states in the game. Obviously her W shielding gives ridiculous amounts. Her Q still does a lot of damage. I think that's about it. I'm trying to remember what else I did to her. And again, Sylas jungle, really strong in this patch. His passive AoE doing lots of damage gives him fairly strong clear and a very strong red side clear, which you see him try to play around, making a lot of invades into G2's red side. So now, obviously, the Qiyana's been picked up, the Yasuo Grag has been left up by Splyce, so G2 is obviously going to take this away. They're going to give themselves this strong mid to late game bot lane where they can make plays and they can really snowball this game out of hand. You see Jankos there looking very happy. And of course, because the Karma's gone, because his ear's gone, sorry, Humanoid is able to pick up this Akali. Again, it's fairly good into the Qiyana, especially at very low levels, level 2, level 3, does well into her trades before she's got many items. Can also go into the top lane if need be. So we start on the next round of bans here, and that will be the Elise ban from Splyce first. Elise, one of Jankos' best champs. They know that the Gragas Yasuo is going into the bot lane. They know that the Qiyana's in the mid, so they're looking at nullifying the top and the jungle. I think Splyce should have banned away the Sejuani here, but they do ban away something else, which I think is a very strong pick. We'll get into it in a second. Either way, the Elise ban here, taking away Elise from Jankos, taking away a very strong pick, a very early game oriented pick that would allow him to snowball the Qiyana or whatever top laner they decide to pick, or really any lane for that matter, really allowing them to snowball. You can very easily do level 2 or level 3 or even 2 tower dives with this Elise. Obviously they take it away. The Poppy ban away, as we see Jankos popping off. The Poppy ban away from Vizicsacsi, very strong pick for him. Shuts down a more aggressive pick. Also, something that I think they should have picked up in first round, as Poppy would very easily stop all 3 of these champs already, just putting up a W, stopping any of their dashes from being able to go through. So now we get into the last 2 bans. The Neeko, obviously Wanda on Neeko is a beast. He's an absolute unit on that champ. Split pushes, the insane ults that he gets, the 1v1s that he can take, it is ridiculous. And the Gnar away from Vizicsacsi. Again, Vizicsacsi a very good playmaker for the side of Splyce, taking away that ult from him, also taking away the side lane pressure. Now, Splyce, knowing that the G2 bot lane is going to be fairly weak in the early levels, wants to capitalise on that. So, picking this really strong early bot lane as the Lux and the Lucian, sorry, just completely slipped my mind. A good pick up there to try shut them down in the early game. So now we see the Victor pick. I'm quite interested about this pick because, in my opinion, I feel like you could have gone for the Kennen. It's still very good split pushing. It's got the AoE teamfight damage that you may want. I'm interested that they went for the Victor instead, but they do get their use out of it, to be fair. I'm surprised that Splyce didn't answer with a Kennen here. I'm not entirely sure why. If somebody knows why, please do tell me. But I'm surprised that they don't go for the Kennen. Neither team does. And they pick up the Victor here. Victor now is a very strong solo lane split pusher. Very strong in 1v1s. And now G2, with one of the only junglers left, pick up the Sejuani. I feel like the Sejuani should have been more of a priority ban than the Neeko. Obviously, Wonder on Neeko is extremely strong, but I feel like Jankos on Sejuani is much better. So the top lane pick that Splyce decided to go with, is the Gangplank. It's a fairly strong pick. I don't entirely know how I feel about it into the Victor. Again, this is what I'm saying. I feel like they could have gone for the Kennen. While obviously Kennen wouldn't do very well into the Victor, I feel like it would do better than the Gangplank. I'm probably entirely wrong on that, but that's my opinion. Either way, they pick up the Gangplank. He is generally fairly safe in lane. Obviously, having oranges as a free cleanse, being able to trade fairly well with Q and barrels, being able to farm quite well with barrels and Q again. Now, if we look at these comps, there's a few things that each team wants to do. Splyce wants to win going into the mid game. They want to be ahead going into the mid game. They want to have humanoid even on caps, because the Qiyana does scale up very early. Once she gets herself a Tiamat or a Moby Boots and a Duskblade, it's very hard to deal with her. Her wave clear is ridiculous, and her damage is also insane. So Xerxes is going to want to look to make plays around the mid and the bot. The same is said with Jankos. He really wants to put his mid and bot as far ahead as humanly possible. He wants to make sure that the bot is nice and safe in lane, and he wants to make sure that this Qiyana can snowball up as fast as possible and really start getting ahead of the game. Right, so we are back to the start of this game. Here we can see just general setups for the start, nothing too interesting. Mickey and Kobe just emoting on each other a bit. Nascaran looking to come down. Nothing interesting really happens here. You can see that if you look on the top side, you can see in a second, Jankos walks up, spots that Xerxes is on his top side. So, as Sylas, you're almost always going to want to start top. It's essentially your fastest and easiest clear. You have so much AoE damage with your passive that allows you to kill Krugs and Raptors super easily. It also gives you level 3 straight away, meaning that you can look for a gank after just clearing topside. Now, Jankos spots out the Sylas on the top side. He knows that he's going to start there. It's very unlikely that he starts on the bot side. So, Jankos, after seeing this, rotates back round in a second whenever he decides to do it. There we go. Rotates back round, and you can see already that vision has been set up. Okay, so they are looking. G2 has set up vision in this bot side and in the top side, trying to see when Xerxes moves in, when he goes into the river. They're trying to spot him out. So Jankos starting on red, Xerxes also starting on red. Kobe and Noskeren are going to look to push this wave very fast, trying to amass themselves an XP advantage as soon as they can. Humanoid generally is going to want to do the same thing. A level 1 Qiyana is extremely weak, and level 2 and 3, while she does get her abilities making her a bit stronger, she still does fall behind. And you can see Humanoid going for some trades, proccing the electrocute. Caps already at half health. However, he does have the Time Warp Tonic in his runes. That will allow him to heal himself up much easier, especially with the Hextech Drinker. Hex Drinker. I've forgotten what it's called now. Either way, Wonder trying to stack up the wave on the top side so we can get a nice large wave pushing into Visual Chachi when he's at level 1. This will mean that he'll miss some minions, he won't be able to set up barrels efficiently. Now we can see here Splice is essentially activating game plan number 1. They've pushed the wave nice and fast, and they have already got themselves level 2. Rather, G2 here has only cleared 1 wave. Now, when you're in the bot lane, a nice thing to know is that when you are level 1, going from level 1 to level 2, when you are top or mid, it is a wave and 1 minion. When you are bot, it is a wave and 3 minions, as of course you are sharing XP with your support or your AD carry, whichever one you are playing. So they push this wave out. Perkz still does a fairly good job of managing to farm up here, even though he is being shoved off his wave quite heavily. So Splice, with the level advantage, is going to try to push this. G2 obviously knows this, and they're just going to play safely and wait until they can hit that power spike, which now Perkz is on level 2. Well, not a power spike, but until they can catch up in XP and keep themselves safe. We can see Caps and Humanoid just taking trades. Now, of course, like I said in the draft, Xerxes clears the red side, and again, he wants to look for red side jungle. He wants to look to get the Raptors. Jankos knows this. This is why he started red side. So he gets his red buff. He takes Raptors to deny it away from Xerxes because he knows that he's going to try to go for that invade. Xerxes is not spotted out on a ward or by anybody going for this invade, so they don't know that he's there, but you could take an educated guess if you are G2. So Jankos obviously just keeps farming, trying to hit level 3. Takes Gromp. Now he takes he does red, Raptors, Wolves, blue, and then Gromp. At this point, he takes Gromp because there's not really any other play to be made on the map until and this is until Caps and Humanoid start taking trades, and Humanoid gets chunked heavily. Now, before we go into this, Humanoid does not know that Jankos is there. Caps also has no electrocute. So, Jankos walks up. Here's 1W. The flash ice Q from Caps, rooting humanoid in place. The ignite and auto. Now at this point, I watched this and I thought this was a misplay, but I then realised that Caps didn't have his electrocute, because obviously doing this he's trying to proc his electrocute. After this he walks away and it looks like he should have electrocute, but he doesn't. I then realised that the only reason why humanoid is that low in the first place is because Caps procced his electrocute to get him that low in trades. So the auto attack, applying another stack onto humanoid. Jankos flash, auto, E, walks away. Caps does a nice job there to not lose tower aggro. And obviously Xerxes can't really do anything because he's trying to clear his blue. And again, we just see it again. Flash, auto, ignite, whatever. It wasn't even that, it was flash, Q, ignite, auto. So, here we see Jankos goes back to the top side, takes Scuttle. Xerxes does the same. Goes to his bot side, takes Scuttle, puts a ward down and recalls. At this point, Jankos puts a ward on Xerxes Raptors because he knows that Xerxes will be going there soon. He then recalls in the bush behind red buff. Now after, I'm just trying to look because humanoid sets his wave up quite well. He uses TP to get back to lane. He knows that Caps is backing and he knows that he's trying to shove this wave out. Now what Caps wants to do here is he wants to shove the wave out so it hits the tower. Humanoid does a very good job to catch the wave, draws it down towards bot, to then stall the wave from pushing forwards. This means that the wave clumps up more heavily and pushes a bit slower into him, meaning that by the time that Caps is back to lane, he has missed essentially a whole wave because humanoid has stalled the wave, and it also means that humanoid is essentially under tower here and that Caps cannot do much to him. We see general farming Caps making the most of what he can, pushes out the wave and just roams. Jankos is spotted out on the ward here. And Caps spots that the bot Scuttle has been taken. If you look at Jankos at this point, you can see him starting to get furiously pinged as they know he's going towards top. Now if we also look at this point, Kobe has been able to back while Perkz has not. Kobe backs, TP's back in, and he is now much further ahead of Perkz, being able to farm much safer. Obviously having pressure from Noscaron as well. Humanoid and Caps going for some trades again. Xerxes looking for something. Now, this is very smart from Xerxes because he seems to realise that he's been spotted out on this ward. I'm not entirely sure how he knows that he's been spotted out on this ward, but he seems to. So, he clears his raptors, sorry about that, clears his raptors and then walks round the top side. So instead of going down, if you look at where my mouse is on the minimap, instead of going down and through this bush here, he goes up, and at this point, G2, you can see the question mark pings. They think, okay, he's going towards his wolves. Right, that's what they think. However, Xerxes, while just being able to sneak out of minion vision, sits in this spot here, waiting for Caps to shove the wave. He doesn't want to wait too long, however, and just leaves it for the moment. He then gets spotted out on the ward on the bot side. And Caps at this point as well knows that Jankos is back into his back pocket and he is safe. Now, engage on the bot side. I'm going to go back for a second and I'm going to put this in slow motion because I just want to analyse this a bit more. So, Perkz dashes through Qs. The dash Q already allows him to get the second stack onto his Q, meaning that this... Oh no, sorry, I'm wrong. Am I wrong? I think I am. Ah yes, the auto attack from Kobe getting rid of Perkz' shield. Mickey here, W's, flash, E, auto, ignite. A lot of damage down onto Kobe. Perkz as well, sitting auto attacking. Perkz with a very good win wall there to stop Noscaron's route. If he doesn't stop that binding from Noscaron, he and probably Mickey are dead. Right? It's a very good win wall to stop the route. Kobe flashing out, Mickey just catching him, but not being able to grab the kill. Perkz here decides to dash back in for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure why. The auto, and at this point, obviously, we'd already seen that Xerxes was coming down. Now, there's a tiny thing here. I'm not entirely sure whether it was his fault or not. I'm not sure if he's in range. But Noscaron here, if you can see, he is auto-attacking. If Noscaron doesn't cancel that auto-attack, Xerxes gets this kill. Now, that might not sound like much of a big deal because he does die in the end. However, it can make a difference in some situations. Especially later on into the game when some skirmishes happen around the rest of the map. So we'll just put it back into normal speed now. The bot lane just shoves this wave out, allows them to back. I'm surprised that they don't at least stay to try get Kobe a turret plating, but it is safer to try back, especially because, I mean, really, they should know where Caps is at this point. Well, they know that he's mid, sorry. So they know that he can't come. They should do this. They also know that Wanda doesn't have TP. And therefore cannot come to assist. So I think they should have tried to get Kobe, maybe all three of them, a turret plating, but they don't. As we can see again, EQ, auto, flash body slam into the Q. Perkz actually misses that second Q. Now, if Perkz, you can see the Q that he throws just before he dashes away. If Perkz lands that Q, Kobe is most likely dead here. And it's not because he would have done enough damage, it's because they would have still been able to chase and Perkz would have been able to use the tornado to knock him up. I might be watching this wrong because there's a lot of particle effects. But Perkz does die there, obviously because of the Noscaron auto attack. And because he is in, and we are back to square one. We can see the support have rotated towards the mid lane at this point in the game, and Xerxes has decided to join them. Now at this point, G2 knows that their support and their jungler, because of the ward in this bush right here, they spot out Xerxes, They know that he is there. So Jankos, after doing his red buff, knows that he can rotate towards Kobbe and try to get a kill. He also knows that Kobbe expended his flash in the last fight. So Caps and Mickey here want to generally play fairly safe, try not to get picked off. Perkz obviously knows that he can go in. He's got the support from his jungler. The passive that applies onto Perkz, allowing him to stack up Sejuani's E, allowing her to free him. The ult, just for the secure. So again, like I said, G2 playing safe because they know that the jungler is in the bot side and they know that there is 3 versus 2 mid. Noskarin here slightly grading for wards. A bit of a misplay from Jankos. He should have positioned directly on top of Noskarin. Instead, he tries to cut off the path where he could go. Mickey, as well, doesn't quite stand in the right position. If they had stood in the right position, possibly they could have maybe made him back, used pots, whatever. They could have got something out of him, but instead, he's just able to walk away scot-free. So Perkz at this point, obviously with an assist and a turret plating, decides that he can back at this point. Caps goes in for a trade on Humanoid, again just trying to trade in the mid lane. Jankos at this point is walking back up. So again, they go for another trade. Caps with the root W, just general nice high damage trade from the Qiyana. Nothing that Humanoid can really do about it. Now Humanoid does, well, Jankos, sorry, does get himself spotted out by the minions in the mid lane. He then works out that Humanoid is playing very passive because he knows that he is there. Sweepers the Raptors so that he knows that there is a ward there and clears it. As well, does not hit the turret so that when he backs off, Caps gets all the solo gold. Xerxes is mid at this point, but can't really get anything done as Humanoid still is having to play very passive. So again, the Sejuani just goes for the Raptors. Xerxes goes for his blue, getting himself double buffs. At this point, you can see the ping come down from, I assume, Jankos, I'm not entirely sure. But Caps goes in on to Humanoid. He knows that Humanoid is low, he thinks he can get the kill. As we will see in a second, he doesn't quite get it. Jankos here knows that Xerxes is there. I'm not entirely sure how he knows that he's there, but he does seem to spot it out. Obviously you can see, goes for the engage, misses the ult. If he had just used it on this wall, he would have just been stunned and an auto probably would have killed him. But he misses it, has to flash out. Obviously flashes over the wall. Again, I'm going to play this in slow motion because it's much easier to look at. So we see the ult, not quite pushing him into the wall. Humanoid is able to ult out the way. And we can see he's got his E mark on Caps. So auto, misses the Q, ults, gets his second ult back up. At this point, Xerxes is able to flash W and just put a body slam into him and just get the kill. At this point, Jankos is obviously left on his own and just has to try get out, which is fine. Jankos is not slowed. Well, because Jankos is on the Sejuani, he can't be slowed by Visage Charge's ult, meaning he just takes a bit more damage for this. Now, Humanoid here makes the grave mistake of not realising that Jankos has flash and ult. This is a really good play from Jankos. He knows that Humanoid has nothing. He knows that essentially he has no way to escape this. So, what does Jankos do? Because Humanoid greeds for the farm, the flash ult. Kills him instantly. Greedy for the farm, he dies for it. This also allows him to escape away from Xerxes. So Xerxes just shoves out the wave and then leaves it there. Right, so after that engage into the mid lane, something that I did not realise was that Norscaron actually dies at the same time as Humanoid there. And it will show what that means in a second. Now, after getting the kill on Norscaron, Perkz and Mickey push up the lane, allowing them to get some turret platings down. However, Perkz goes in between turrets to poke onto Kobbe, which he does. They both get a decent amount of poke onto each other. However, Humanoid, after respawning, sees this, having his TP up, and TP's behind G2. Now at this point, G2 is, well, Perkz is in between towers, and Mickey obviously is under the tier 1. So, Humanoid comes in with the TP, they spot it out, and they start to run away. Onto him, the wind wall to block Norscaron from throwing things. I'm going to put this on half speed again. Block Norscaron from throwing things. Auto attack from Humanoid. Now at this point he doesn't have any auto attack stacks up. Norscaron now lands the root onto Mickey. Now, as you can see, he gets away with a sliver. If Humanoid did not walk back to get that stack and trusted that Norscaron would output the damage needed with his ult, then Mickey would be dead. If Humanoid had stood there and auto attacked him, he would be dead. The same thing can kind of be said for Kobbe here. Kobbe, well, granted, I don't think he could have got into the fight in time. He just sits back and decides to try kill the wave. Now at this point the Qiyana is back into lane and Xerxes had to be covering because the Akali has been somewhere else on the map. As we see here, we get a replay of what happened in the bot lane. So this is happening at the same time as the fight in mid lane. It's just a general nice clean all in with the ult. Nothing too special. Here we see the 1v1. Right. I again am going to quickly go a bit more in depth with this and how Caps could have actually got this kill here very, very cleanly. It would be very hard to do, but possible. So we see here Caps has grabbed water with his W. He is on to Norscaron. Not Norscaron, sorry, Humanoid. He then Qs and ults. Right. At this point, Humanoid is way too far away for this ult to hit, to stun. If Caps, he does have his flash. I don't know why it says here that he doesn't, but he does have his flash. If Caps, at this point, so you see he E's and Q's at the same time. If he, instead of ulting, it's hard to find the exact spot, but EQ, if at this point, instead of ulting, he flashes somewhere along here, and then ults, Humanoid is dead. Humanoid is 100% dead. But instead, he ults here, Humanoid is able to ult out the way. Vizicharchi pulls the ult down. Caps tries to finish off Humanoid, but doesn't have the damage because the second part of the ult did not hit. I am looking at it now, and I'm just contemplating whether flashing into that spot would have killed. I still think it would have. obviously that would, if he does flash into that position, that puts him further under tower. So it's risky, but possible. And obviously we saw what happened after that. Jankos walks up with the ult and just flash ults in. Now we see most waves are just reset back into the right position. Splyce has called for a lane swap. Okay, so Humanoid here knows that he has an advantage. His jungler and his support are both mid, so he thinks, okay, I can go in onto Caps here. A nice Q ult. This is a very nice combo actually. The one thing that he doesn't think though is where is any of their bot lane. He just assumes that they are going to lane swap because Kabi is up there. He does not think about where they could be, because in reality G2 see that Rift Herald is still alive and they want Rift Herald. So Humanoid goes in, not particularly thinking about where the enemy team is and just thinking, oh, my team is with me, I'm fine. A nice body slam into the W auto. I believe it's another ice Q from Caps. Just freezes him. The ult, the WQ from Caps again just gets him the kill. This is a major overextension from Humanoid, and he is really trying to fish for something at this point, and that is only going to set him further behind. This also means that G2 can freely set up for a Rift Herald, which they are already trying to do. Wander at this point starts walking towards the bot lane as he doesn't really want to use his TP and won't. So G2 start the Rift Herald. I say without Splyce having knowledge, but realistically what is Splyce going to do about it? If they go for it, the most likely thing is they're going to die. Right? There's a chance that they can outplay it because they do have ultimate advantage, and Xerxes has got Caps' ult. But even still, a nice engage from Wander here. Again, this is kind of where I feel like if he was on the Kennen, that's a potential kill, because Kennen has much more reliable CC to possibly stop him from escaping there. But obviously he's not on the Kennen, so there's nothing they can really do about that. It's a nice engage and it shoves him out of lane. He's now just got to heal up with oranges and Hex Drinker. So we can see here that Jankos, where he is on the map right now, has just cleared a ward. He has just seen Xerxes walk around here. If you can see where my mouse is on the map, just seen him walk around there, and he knows that he's going to his Krugs to help his bot lane, who are in the top side. So Jankos, knowing this and knowing that he has the Rift Herald, says, okay, we'll just use it mid. So Caps shoves the wave. Jankos uses the Rift Herald. Humanoid has no way to stop it. He's got no stun, and they know that Xerxes has gone towards the top side of the map near Krugs. Humanoid again overstepping. Mickey just misplacing the ult. I can't think of what it's called. The Gragas ult. If he doesn't misplace that, it's kill, but Humanoid is still out of lane, allowing them to get more turret plates. Not entirely sure who actually picks up turret plate gold for the Rift Herald Slam. I think it's both of them. It might just be Caps. It is just Caps. That's 420 gold straight to Caps. Again, they chunk him out. Xerxes uses the ult to make sure that nobody can follow. Noskarin again using ult so that the wave clear is easy for Xerxes. At this point, Jankos knows that the dragon is up. He knows that the enemy bot lane is in the top side, and Humanoid cannot contest. He's got pressure from his mid, and Wander is just recalling. He also knows that Visitachi is doing the same, and knows that Vizichachi does not have TP, rather Wonder does, so he has advantage there. Oh, sorry, I actually got that wrong. Yeah, Jankos hasn't gone for the Drake yet. He does go for it in a second, though. Yeah. So, Wonder, after recalling, goes mid. Jankos backs, gets himself some items. The Qiyana goes into the bot lane to deal with the split pushing Gangplank. And the bot lane is just, again, the bot lane for G2 is again just fishing for kills. Why would they not? So at this point, Jankos setting up. Goes for the invade. He's got pressure from his bot and his mid is even. Yeah, in fact, Wonder rotates from mid. They are looking to move 3-man top to see if they can get a turret dive. Xerxes does, however, back off, not wanting to go for it. Caps does get a turret bot, which is the first turret, and as you could see, that was 450 gold straight into his pocket, which is a lot. So now Jankos takes the dragon, putting himself and his team further ahead, and this will allow them to take towers and objectives much easier as it is a mountain drake. At this point, both teams are just trying to make rotations and really trying to match each other. Xerxes here spotted out an award that he doesn't know about. Perks pretends not to realise. And they get this turret. Whiffed ult from Jankos and the whiffed ult from Mickey means that they do not get the kill on Humanoid, but half his HP for 2 whiffed ults, that's not too bad realistically. Keep Wonder and Mickey in the mid lane while leaving Caps to split push on the bot side. At this point you can see that the whole of the top side from Splyce is littered with wards. They do not want G2 entering their top side without them knowing. They do not want Kobe to fall any further behind. They need him to be this team fighting monster, which he is currently not, as he is behind. He does have the Bork at the moment, which does mean that he has hit a small power spike, but he needs Essence Reaver. Now, perks to action engage onto Kobe. Again, Jankos is there. However, Kobe uses flash, gets out, and just clears the wave. Now, Xerxes has moved into position. He's got the Gragas ult. He's moved towards the top lane to try help cover and see if they can't go on onto perks. They know that there's wards here, but G2 does know that they are there and is matching. Jankos walks onto the control ward. Mickey, they still have no information that Mickey is there. They have no idea. Mickey now walks up and shows. So again, they're just trying to look to pressure them out. But that, like I was saying earlier, Splyce do not want them just walking into their top side. They want to keep this bot lane safe and allow Kobe to scale up safely. Putting all those wards down on that bot side, the double wards in that tri-brush, make sure that they can see Jankos coming through, and meaning that they are safe and stopping them from being towered over. Again, we'll go back to the split push. Caps and Vizichachi still just split pushing the lanes, trying to look for something. Xerxes walks up and gets himself killed. Jankos again on a rampage. Not needing to take the kill, but better safe than sorry. General engage. The TP just gets stopped from Vizichachi. It was a nice try, but it just gets stopped. He does get the flash from Caps, but he loses his life and his own TP. I do like the attempt though. However, at this point, Humanoid is trying to 2v1 in the mid lane and gets jumped. So a lot just happened there. I'm just going to go back over it, and again we're going to go into a bit of a slow motion. So we can see Xerxes coming down toward the bot side. Support Vizicsacsi. He's spotted out on a ward. There is a ward right on top of him. It's right there. Caps knows this, spots him out. Jankos again is also on the bot side. They have pressure from the rest of the team. Xerxes decides to walk up to him for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm assuming he was just out of his vision. But the ult Q is a nice ult W to keep himself alive, but can't quite do it. Jankos comes in and picks up the kill. Again, at this point, Vizicsacsi knows I'm probably dead. Attempts to TP out. The flash WQ with the ice from Caps, allowing him to secure the kill. Well, allowing Jankos to secure the kill, should I say. Oh no, Caps does get it in the end here. Rather, at this point, Humanoid has taken a nice 2v1 against Perkz Mickey. But again, overextends a bit. Does not realise that Perkz still has the ultimate up. Gets ulted. Tries to flash out. Just gets caught with Mickey's Q and dies. However, all this play around the bot side does mean that Splice's bot lane is safe to try and take this top turret, which I believe they will do. However, because of the kills picked up by G2, it will just be in trade for the mid tier 2. It's not the best trade, but it's at least something for Splice. Again, we're just looking at the split push. Now, there may be 3 of them backing here, but the pressure still being applied in certain areas around the map by G2. Again, we just get a replay of this. Don't care. Picked up the kill. Tries to TP out. Doesn't get it off. And dies. So again, we just have general rotations happening by the teams, trying to push whatever advantages they can get. Splice seems to be trying to stay grouped. I'm not entirely sure what their game plan is. They just send Vizicsacsi down to the bot lane. They know that Mickey is coming up and cannot do anything about it, really. Mickey actually really overextending here. Almost gets out, but gets caught by the ult from Vizicsacsi and the ult from Kobbe. We'll just have another quick look at how this happened. So, Caps does look like he's going to come to rotate with him, but all 3 members of Splice. 3 members of Splice leave. Mickey goes for this. He doesn't commit for Vizicsacsi. He knows that they are there. Noskeran. That's actually a blind Q. So that's a really, really good hit. Completely blind here. Hits it. They layer on the CC. He almost still gets out, but can't quite do it. And does fall. Again, Splice at this point in the game, because they are so far behind, they need to stay grouped whenever they can, really. Caps goes in onto Noskeran. Noskeran with the stopwatch, and Caps accidentally wastes his ult there. It's not too bad for him, however, they almost all are chunked. Humanoid goes in, but he does get the kill on the Victor, but he does get picked off. As we see this fight sprawling out. Moving towards the bot side. And again, G2 gets himself caught out of position in this area. Perkz does get one in trade, but unfortunately it's almost all for naught. We're going to go back again and just look at how this started. Right, okay. So, Jankos goes in, looks for an engage. Wander is here. Perks is in the bot side. And Mickey is also here as well somewhere. I think Mickey and Caps are both together. No, Mickey and Perks are both together. A nice Q from Noscarin to a nice Q from Wander to chunk Noscarin out, while Caps goes for the Zachachi. This is where the target priority from G2 is a bit all over the place. They're trying to fight on two sides of a wall, which granted for their team comp is not the worst thing ever, but it's not the greatest. They also don't realise about Humanoid. They get picked off by him. Red buff from Perk securing the kill on Humanoid. Now at this point Xerxes is able to go back in. Noscarin is just trying to help out by throwing some shields. Xerxes here flashes out. At this point Xerxes has dragged them out. He's essentially dragged them out like they're a mini wave. He's baited them into going this way to trying to commit for him. He flashes over the wall, and this allows Splyce to get into this position here where they can cut them off or attempt to cut them off from getting this kill. I think Jankos at this point should have left Perks and should have walked with Caps. But they do manage to get them to disengage. However, Perks has no way over the wall, and another really nice blind Q from Noscarin lands onto Jankos. However, Perks is the one that does get picked off in the end, as he knows that he has no way to get out. So, overall, quite a good fight for Splyce. They get some kills back and they get some shutdown gold. However, Mickey at this point has respawned and they do have pressure over this bot side. Again, we're just going to get a little replay of this. Jankos goes in. Caps again goes in, just missing the ult. And this is where the target priority should have come in. Caps going for Vizichachi, Wander going for Noscarin. They don't realise that Humanoid's coming in. The ult from Perks. Oh yeah, Gragas is dead at this point. I don't know what I'm on about. Gragas has already died at this point. Xerxes commits onto them, draws them out into the bot side. This allowed Kobe to go in nice and safely. Vizichachi then following up. Noscarin again landing a blind Q, but not hitting it onto Perks, so just getting caught out. However, it does stop Jankos from being able to try and turn anything back into their favour. They do also pick up the Ocean's Rate because of the pressure that they were able to apply as of Mickey being alive and having 3 still in the bot lane. Now again, as we look at the state of this game really, we can see that G2 is trying to set up around this Baron. They're trying to force something. They have all 5 members near the top and they're going for it. They have the Mountain Drake, so they can really try to force this. And they do come off it after a Farsight ward is popped onto it. Splyce goes in onto Caps. See the engage. Nice little freeze frame. So Caps is up getting stolen here. Tries to go in onto Humanoid and get a bit of wave clear, but Vizichachi comes in. Lands a double barrel Q, gets ulted by Xerxes, ulted by Kobe, and he is down for the count. This gives Splyce the pressure to take the mid lane turret. Also bringing them back into this game slightly, as I believe he did have 250 shutdown gold. So that is 550 gold to Kobe as well. 550 gold back into Kobe's pocket. This is allowing him to scale up a bit more. While they are still behind, they are picking it back up. They can still play through Vizichachi and through Kobe. Both of them have nice farm and very nice KDs. Humanoid is not doing too well, but as well as this, if we have a look at the items, Vizicharchi is on 2 items, Wander is on 2 items, Yankos is on 2 items, including the jungle item. Xerxes is on 1.5, as he doesn't have as many kills as Yankos, and is a jungler, so he doesn't just get as much gold because of how jungling farm works. Again, we just see the replay of that. Hopefully, yep, we can just look back at the items. Xerxes only on 1.5, like I just said. Great Athens. Okay, sorry. So, Caps going into his 3rd item. He's got the Tiamat, got the Duskblade, got the Yomus. Hasn't gone for the Moby boots. He's gone for the Merc Treads. Does make sense. Into Humanoid with his Q slows and his ult stun. Just shortens the time of that even more. Stops Vizicharchi's slow from his ult and from his barrels, if I'm not mistaken. And as well slows down stops the route from Noskeren lasting as long. As well, we have obviously Humanoid is very far behind, doesn't have as much farm, but he is still on 2 items and has got himself Merc Treads. And then when we look at the bot side, they are both even, fairly even on farm, while Perks is slightly further ahead, but Kobe has got the Essence River, so he has hit more of a power spike now. And the supports, not much for Mickey, but Noskeren does have the Athena's Unholy Grail, meaning that he is going to be able to heal his team now in team fights. Sorry if you can hear my chair squeaking, it's quite old. Now we can see G2 just trying to keep up this pressure over the top side of the map, trying to bait them in for this Baron. You can see they've already shoved out the top wave, and they're also trying to do the same for the mid wave. Caps has managed to sneak in behind Splyce without being spotted out, and Vizicharchi gets caught in the middle of him. Won't quite result in a kill as Vizicharchi is able to use his flash to get out. And this is where the great vision control from G2 there comes in, being able to clear out the wards around this top side, allowing him to find a route in and behind them, and allowing them to almost get a pick onto Vizicharchi there. Again, they're just going to keep up this vision control. They're just going to keep up this vision control and just keep trying to force them into Baron. So now what they're going to do is they're going to back, they're going to reset, they're going to try let waves go into them, then they're going to reset their vision on Baron and then try to force. Caps, however, is going to take a fight onto Humanoid. Humanoid playing that fight super well and even getting the kill. Ults out to make sure he's not chased by anybody. Or use the second activation of his ult to make sure he's not chased by anybody. Again, here we see the Drake is coming up soon. I'm not entirely sure what Drake it is, but we'll see in a second. It is a Cloud Drake. This will mean that they can get roams off more easily, and that split pushers will be able to rotate quicker. Again, it also means that they can force on one side of the map and then make a quicker rotation towards the top side and towards that Baron when they need to. Both teams are going to want to be fighting for this for that exact same reason. Now we can see that G2 does not have control over this. I don't think they're all too bothered about it. It's a Cloud Drake, and what they can do with this is they can make sure that they have vision over this top side. Splice goes for this Cloud Drake, but what that means is that they can start to group over into the top lane and try to set up Vision like Jankos is doing now. Well, he's clearing out Vision, but the point still stands. Caps again is still just forcing onto this turret, as they know that 4 of them are in the bot side. Even if Vizicsarci is here to try deal with him, gets a nice little chunk on him with the E's and Q's. See the damage graphs coming in. Obviously Perkz really outputting a lot of damage, being very aggressive on the Yasuo. And again, this is why I wanted to watch this, because I wanted to show why the Yasuo and the Qiyana are banned out a lot of the time, and it's because they are so dominant on these champs, and you can see it by this damage graph. And again, Vizicsarci, I'll give it to him, he is having a very good performance on the Gangplank, and this is kind of why I feel like G2 should have gone for the Kennen. They don't. I think it's still fine because the rest of the team is still ahead, and I think realistically Wunder is not that far behind in gold either because of the farm lead that he has. I think he is just behind. I can't do the maths in my head right now, but even still, the gold lead that he's managed to amass throughout the game, and especially in the laning phase, has really helped him out. Now, as we are coming up on the 30-minute mark here, we'll just have a look at how the game stands. Obviously, we've still got 2 split pushers. Each team is trying to play a 1-3-1. Splice is slightly further behind. They do have all 3 of the enemy's tier 1s. However, G2 does have the tier 2 in the mid lane and a lot of damage onto the tier 2 in the top lane. And again, like I was saying before, G2 is setting up the Vision around this Baron, trying to scare Splice, making it completely dark so they do not know where anything is. Splice also at this point has almost no wards up and they cannot check. Xerxes just got his sweepers up and he's using that now to clear out wards. Noskaran is also about to get his sweepers up, so he will do the same. And again, this is just this back and forth between the Vision, just clearing a ward, one team clears a ward, one team clears this ward. G2 does have the advantage and they can still force as they are still ahead. And again, the same thing is just going to keep happening until somebody oversteps or G2 feels like they can go for this Baron. They are just going to keep clearing the ward, pushing the wave, rinse, repeat over and over again. Splice is going to do the same thing. Now they do start up the Baron here, like I was saying. Splice are way too far back to try to do anything about this. It is highly unlikely that this will get stolen by them. Noskaran does not have ult up. They put a ward on it, but it is far too late. G2 has got it. This is extremely good for G2. All of this vision control around here and the lead that they have amassed throughout this game stops Splice from being able to get in and do anything about clearing this out. Because it's completely dark, G2 could be death pushing, they could be on the Baron, they could be in base. They have no idea. So G2 gets the Baron for free with almost all of their members completely healthy. And they are just able to start pushing these waves again, pushing these side lanes and grouping as a team. Again, even though, if we look at this, even though they are not all in lanes, it is still a 1-3-1. Here we see a fight breaking out. Nice lot used from Humanoid to get a 3-man stun. Goes into the Zhonya's. Mickey gets chunked quite low. However, he does get the kill onto him, I believe, with the last tick of Ignite. Again, because of Baron buff, they can push onto this turret, and Perkz being able to push up onto Noscaron to try force something. Again, G2 is just able to walk into the base at this point. We're going to keep watching this. There's not really much to see left in this game. G2 is so much further ahead. They have pressure throughout the whole of the map. They have Baron buff on all 5 of their members. It would be a large miracle for Splyce to come back into this game. They are so far behind. I'll pause it here so we can see the gold differences between each lane. Vizicsacsi is slightly ahead. Obviously, Jankos having so many kills is again ahead. Same with Perkz, the same with Caps, and the same with Mickey. They have just amassed themselves this lead throughout the game by getting picks, taking team fights that feel advantageous for them. It's a nice ult from Xerxes there actually. Humanoid going right in here. We're actually going to play this in slow motion because they've given us a nice replay here. See, a nice ult from Xerxes. Humanoid ease onto Jankos. He reactivates his E. Goes in. Ults. Gets a 3-man stun after Mickey flashed back. Mickey barely living. Ult coming down from Caps to stop the chase. I just want to check what Humanoid did die from then. Yeah, just the last tick of Ignite as he comes out of the Zhonya's. Just catching him. And then this is just disengage from Splyce. Perkz just goes onto this top turret knowing that he's got the pressure and that he is able to do so. Now another fight breaking out here for Splyce. Well, not a fight. Trying to use ultimates to get an advantage here. It's not working. Perkz slightly oversteps, but blocks all the ranged abilities from the side of Splyce. And again, we can just see the split push happening. Wunder in the top side just getting caught out and does die. Overextends a bit, doesn't keep track of where they are. However, Caps does get the trade kill on the top side as there is more fights going on the bot side and I cannot keep track. Oh dear. There's so many fights going on. Perkz with the amazing engage there. Chunks them out. And that's game. G2 are just going to walk down now. And they are just going to take the kill. We're just going to go back to here. And we're going to play it in slow motion just to end off this video. Just have a look at this very last team fight and everything that went into it. G2 at this point, they know that Vizicsacsi is left. Vizicsacsi is the most fed member on the team. They know that he is left. They get the kill onto Humanoid, but G2 goes to make the rotation, but Kemps is just like, Wunder just says, no, it's fine, I'm going to die. Just leave me. Still gets a nice chunk onto Humanoid. Caps comes over. Flash, Q, auto, W, auto. And at this point, G2 knows that there is 2 of them in the bot side, in the top side, and even if you look, Kobe has left. Kobe has gone to also rotate over, and he has left Xerxes and Noscaron. Xerxes here then is getting chunked out. Is a nice route from Noscaron there, but both Jankos and Perkz are able to escape it. Jankos goes for the Q onto Kobe, doesn't quite land it. Perkz though goes in with the flash Q, hits it, then gets the passive on the tornadoes. Caps able to come in, clean up, and a nice ult against the wall to give Perkz the triple kill. After this, we'll actually play it a bit faster now. G2 kills the waves, pushes up to the turrets, takes the turrets. That is the game. In this game, really, if we just look at this, this shows us how dominant Perkz and Caps are on this Qiyana and this Yasuo pick, and it shows us how much impact they can have on the game and how strong G2's team fight can be when they get champs that they want. Again, I'm going to go from top to bottom, talk about what I like, talk about what I dislike. I like the fact that Vizicsacsi managed to survive the lane and really put himself ahead to try impact this game in later stages. Obviously, it's not quite enough as humanoid hard fed, but that's not the point. Again, Wunder I feel like would have been better on something like the Kennen, allowing him to 1v1 much easier and allowing him to do much more damage. However, he wasn't on the Kennen and he's not able to do that. It does put him behind a bit, but he still does very well to stop Vizicsacsi from getting this gold lead in the early game and to stop him from farming in the early, putting him behind. Jankos obviously made some ridiculous plays throughout this game, notably the flash ult onto Humanoid after he overextends in the mid lane. Xerxes again made some good plays. The gank onto the bot lane to get the kill onto Perkz. Caps taking a lot of 1v1s, a lot of fights, a lot of small skirmishes, and helping his team to win a lot of team fights throughout this game. Humanoid getting caught out a lot, overextending, not being able to keep up in farm. He did get, I think, 2 1v1s onto Caps actually later on into this game, which did help him, but by that point he was just too far behind and he couldn't do enough. Perkz, once he hit around about level 5, he was just online. It didn't matter that they had tried to pick this strong early bot lane, he could just run over them. He was so dominant on this pick, able to really take fights anywhere across the map and really snowball himself out of control. Obviously, Kobe and Noskeren, while they did get a kill onto Noskeren early, they weren't able to do enough with it, and it didn't put them far enough ahead, meaning that Perkz could really push advantages onto him throughout the game and not allowing Kobe to get back into it. And the same can be said for Mickey. He had very good ults throughout this game. Some missed, some weren't that great, some actually stopped him from getting kills, but they still won the game and he still did play a nice impact into this game. Tanking, actually, when you think about it, in a lot of teamfights he tanked a lot of CC and a lot of abilities from Splyce, really allowing G2 to go in with these large engages. Well, that's all from me. Just wanted to put this video out there to show why these two champions right here for G2, the Qiyana and the Yasuo, are such priority bans when you play against them. That's all from me. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.